Na hát, hello, balú srácok. Hello. Hello, bello srácok. Jó, most működik a hang. Üdvözlök mindenkit. Bármint, hát sajnos senki. Szóval teljesen feleslegesen. Fresh of Sand. Fresh Oceans. Matyira várunk már csak. Ez nagyon jó, hogy nem lehet megosztani saját streamedet. Take me to hospital. Matyika, gyerek! Stream time. Szóval ugyanonnan is kezdjük. De mit most mások lennének az...
Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun...
Jó, let's trade.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed.
Egyébként hello.
A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Igen, tudunk vele trade-elni. Itt van, erre lesz jó akkor a pénz. Hogyha tudnám, hogy arákba kell használni... revolvert, azt a köcsög revolvert, akkor talán tudnák ezzel a szarral trade-elni bullettért, mert egy izőért biztos megéri, meg egyébként shotgun is jól jönne. De gondolom azt majd úgyis kapunk, nincs rá pénzem. Annál a Screeve, de az nálunk is van. Jó, nincs rá semmi jó. Azonban ennyi volt a fontos, hogy lehet vele trade-elni.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember.
Hello,
I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
Minden jó, nem vagyok a
He
semmi.
was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Jó, azt mondja, your life in London, personal question. Ezt egyébként ugyanezt megcsináltuk.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation?
Csak ugye nem
And
mentett a...
please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed.
Senkinek se tűnik fel a piros a
This
szemünk.
hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
Ezt most én nem olvasom el, ezt már tudom, mert ez mind hint required.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
What's happened? Positive characters.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her
Na, kaptunk egy
skills.
új hintet. Ezt
I'll
múltkor
go
nem
even
kaptuk meg.
further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
What about
Any
the
opinion
management?
about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Hú, idegesítő hangja van a
Don't get me
karakternek.
wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out
Elmehetne
of his
esti
office
mesét
now and
olvasni.
again.
Go back. Nincs is semmi. Akkor your life in London, personal question. Ezt mindent elkezdtünk. Itt is minden hint required.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Ez itt mi a Athos? Húzzál innen? Aha, kapcunk glass vialt. Azt gondolom valamilyen üveg. Az English-em nem perfect. Itt vannak betegek, bla bla bla. Ezzel beszéljünk, addig nézek a chatet.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan
Igen,
Reed.
ezt a jövőt szopsz.
Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position.
11-kor jövőt szopsz.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
Your life in London, ugye ezeket ugyanúgy megkérdeztük. How is the situation here? You have been nurse of long. How is the staff?
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Jó, Wise Milton so grumpy. Especially. Jó, ezt kérdezzük
Why
meg, hát
is
hat
Milton
hintet.
grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Aha, új hint, tudtam.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned. Milton is not the chatty type.
Ez nem járt hinttel. Most visszamehetnék vele beszélni a hintről.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Jó.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever.
Hát ez igaz, már most
Even
jön
the
a
Black Plague
koronavírus.
didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
Jó, get a
You
grip.
must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Jó, itt már mindent megkérdeztünk.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You are right. You were surprised. Jó, hagyjunk
You're
szörnyű.
right. When dealing with such a terrible disease, one must remain humble. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try our best.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
Personal question. Hint required, azt amennyi hint. Jó, goodbye.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research. Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed,
Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
You're arrived in London, personal question. Hint required. Azt a ennyi hintet össze lehet szedni a játékba. Ebben aztán van content.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
Do you need my help?
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But
Ebbe a
if
játékba
you
be
went
lehet ülni
personally to
találva.
his shop,
Főleg, hogyha minden
with your
is.
reputation and... Well, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Jó, na mi van? Local investigation. A new citizen investigation is available. To open the local investigation. Citizen investigations, és eljutunk egy másik emberhez. Hogyha őt investigate-eljük, akkor...
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Én
You
remélem,
obtain
hogy
nothing from me by flattering
nem lesz a
my
játékban a
young
közeljövőben is ennyi
Oh, I
content.
was not flattering you,
Mert
sir, not
ezt
at
nem
all.
fogom tudni kivinni
Just
az anőtől.
clumsily expressing my sincere admiration.
Jó, back. Back. Igen, personal question-t is megszóltuk. Mi ez? Mit mondott?
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique...
You want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed.
Ezt is miért tudtuk, miért
Especially since I
megkérdezni?
know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Aha, ez az investigation.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality.
Mondtam, hogy
You
ennél az
must know
embernél
that
lesz a
a good
legjobb
surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Aykroyd's behavior. A
Same
man
to
who did not
Detroit.
even take time to converse with his
Tetszik nekem az
patient.
játék, én
Do you
szeretem
think
az
keeping
ilyeneket.
his distance was a mistake?
Sokan nem szeretik.
All I know is that
Nincs
I'm
rá időm.
taking care of human beings
Meg
with
sok döntés
desires,
nem
hopes and
szeretik.
fears.
Sokan
A
szeretnek
biological
dönteni.
machine comprised of blood, bones and flesh.
Jó, tell me, Mr. Friedrich.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father. ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Újabb hint. Tudtam, hogy ez jó. Hint. Hint required.
Goodbye, Dr.
Goodbye.
Strickland.
Látszik, itt nem a gyűjtető tárgyak lesznek többet, hanem az emberek
Good
beszélnek.
evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
De ezzel egyszer beszéltünk. Ezt leszarjuk. Ez ugyanaz az ember. Ezzel nem tudunk még egyszer beszélni.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening. Goodbye. Unsolved things.
And you will kindly apologize when you're feeling better.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Jó volt, akivel ugyanazokat megkérdeztük? Ja, ezek ugyanazok az emberek, most már lassan mindenkit megkérdezünk.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
És úgy néz, mint az állat. Ez megint a Dr. Nurse.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Ez megint ugyanaz.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Na, ez
Good
már új
evening.
ember.
I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
You arrive in London. Painful.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something
Ebből gondolom
more.
hintet fogom megtudni.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Hát ebben sokat nem fogom megtudni.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'll let you get some rest then.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
As for me,
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
Jó, akkor kérdezzük róla persze not. Hint required az összes. Tell me about yourself.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Gondolom, hát
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband.
azt gondolja, ez is sokat nem tudok hozzátenni.
I
Streamben
can
nem
cover
akarom
any
fordítani
needed
mindent.
medical
Rengeteg
expenses.
idővel menne vele. Beszéljük.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Jó, ebben nem tudtunk meg hintet.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived, but we had no other choice, considering the state of
Annak
emergency.
játszik a végén
Is
is
there
lesz.
something in particular
it
that's
ain't.
bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming.
Hol vannak a hintjeink? Hint locked. Tehát 2 hint elvezet egy other hinthez. Jó. Őről kéne hinteket megszerezni.
I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Igen, ez ilyen karakter megismerés itt az elején. Jó sok karaktert kell megismerni.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious
Igen, most
attitude.
interrogitáljuk.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Igen. Újabb hint, tudtam.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Simán ki tudnám vinni hintek nélkül is, nyilván. A játékokban megcsinálom, és
She
akkor valószínűleg
charged
bedönni
you
jön
for a
neki.
bed.
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
Azt mondja, elege van a kérdésekből. Intrigue-ért. Personal questionből megvan az összes. Ebből is.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
És akkor most már tudunk tőle kérdezni.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
How painful is your throat, Mr.
Megint
Goswick?
ugye azt
So
fogja mondani?
painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
Na igen.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Nem tudom, hogy hányan vagytok még itt színben, de...
Pembroke Hospital may look
Itt azt hiszem 40 ember lesz az egész
but rest
játékban.
assured, you're
Velük lehet
in
majd
good
beszélgetni.
hands here.
Ez az elején egy kicsit nyugveletősen indul, mert most ismerjük meg az egész játékot. Az egész egy open world lesz. Akárhol mehetünk, és meg kell oldanunk ezt a rejtvényt.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me.
Megint elmondja ugyanaz.
She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Ebből megint nem tudtunk meg semmit.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I
Ezt
don't
még tudom
want to
persze.
talk, Doctor.
Ez megint ugyanaz. Intrigue-ért,
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Jó, itt még egy beteg.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see.
Jó, azután
Would you
megyünk a
mind telling me
küldetésre.
more about
Azt
your
még
situation?
megkérdezzük.
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Jó, oké, Life in London. About the
Are
hospital.
you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable, and your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the
Nézzük egy
responsibility.
chatet. Ha írtatok egyáltalán valamit, hogy nézz egyáltalán valaki. 11-kor majd szopszja.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my
Ezek
family,
a
Dr. Reed.
háttérben ilyen lévő ilyen jó kis fölkiáltások. tök
Tell
jó.
me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Jó. Personal question.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
Na, újabb hints.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Jó, dű.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. Doctor.
Jó. Egyszer. Jó, mindent megnéztünk.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in
ezt
the
meg van
army.
introget.
Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
Itt kapunk megint egy hintet.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Jó, várj, erőcsét.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Jó, mindent megkérdeztünk.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Jó. Menjünk akkor fel a second flooros irodánkba.
The pain.
Úgyis az a vampire főcél. Hiszem second flooron van. Vagy first-on. Mindjárt kiderül. Ez lesz azt szerintem itt first flooron.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin.
Jó, crafting. Quick to analyze. Jó, analyze-oltam.
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching.
Jó,
The
agresszív
sun
trait
is
és
about to
defensív trait.
rise. I can feel it.
Tegyünk most a defensív traitre.
I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now.
Jó, rakjunk mindjárt egy defensív traitre. Gondolom, szerintem csak az első 2 részét szerintem lehet az egész játék alatt kiállakolni, mert egyszerűen annyi trait van. Ugye ez rengeteget kell játszani, az összeset kiállakolod. És azért, hogy a traiteket beállokoljam, azt tölteni kell megint. Heal status drops below the critical threshold.
If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Chapter 2 completed. Ezt elég elhúztuk, ezt simán kompletáltuk volna már 20 perc előtt. Nem baj, ugye van időd.
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
There is nothing here. This room is...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons.
Ilyen fura
Take
szája
this
van.
key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse.
Jó. És nem állunk meg egészen az objective innen beszélgetni emberekkel, bla bla bla. Leszarjuk. Jaj, ott is lemettem volna most már, de mindegy. Oda megyünk ki. Hova?
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Jó, töltés, ez jót jelent. Töltés mindig jót jelent. Előtt nyilván ide kellett jönni. Ez azt jelenti, hogy itt valami nagy dolog lesz ebben a házban. Gondolom, emberekkel kell majd beszélni. Ez is egy kórháznak a... Azt már backdoort mondott. Vagy raktárt mondott, nem tudom már mit mondott. Mi ez, nem figyeltem. De elég fura hangok vannak. Ugye ott logged.
William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza.
Itt kombatba kell lenni. Itt vampire-ok mindent megtámadtak. Eagle weapon pressed, user range weapons. Nekem most az van berakva a Zuhandbe. Jó, akkor aztán felépem a revolverre. Szépen. Two hands. One hand. Off hand. Ez legyen berakva. De akkor mire ez a szar van berakva? Én ezt akarom berakni. Aj, geci. Miért nem lehet berakni? Na, megnézem. Semmi új ízét nem ír. YouTube chat. És akkor megmondom, én vagyok, hogy nem bírok rájönni, hogy miért nem ez van berakva? Offhandbe? Na, de megnézem, akkor még egyszer látom, most megír. Megint van YouTube Premium, tudom, ingyenesen. Ezt nem értem, de mindegy.
I cannot enter.
I cannot enter. Oké, nem olvasott már esti mesét. Olyan hangja van. Ezek gondolom a lenti szinte lesznek. Arra, I cannot enter. Erre pedig nothing, úgyhogy... Valamilyen kezdetleges. Azért nem figyeltem a sztorira, és nem értem, hogy miért öljük meg ezeket. Mert nyilván nem legyenek vampírok, de... Itt már nem találtunk semmit, én úgy emlékszem. És komolyan elmész? Jaj, nem, most megint költőképernyő. És behetek vissza, és megint egy töltőképernyő. Jó, megnézzük ezt a YouTube Premiumot. Dobjad ki nekem az ingyenes YouTube Premiumot. És merre kell menni? Végeztünk is. Nem, vissza kell menni. Gyerekek. Akkor egy fiam olyan. Igen, ide kell menni. The hospital. Find some crime, find some books. Most itt van benn? Hova kell menni? Gondolom én itt van benn. De nem, mert most meg eltűnik. Ott lenne fölöttünk? Nem, itt lenne alul.
It's locked.
But it's locked. Gyerekek. Ezek mind fölül vannak. Mindegyikre azt mondta, hogy fölül van. Igen, most pontban szembe vagyunk. Vagy fölül lenne? Igen, ott lenne fölül.
I cannot enter.
But it's locked again. Itt van egy...
Balls of Mars. Fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful.
Igen, itt a
This
másik.
key will surely grant me access to the basement.
Igen, és access to the basement. Most kezdődik a játék. Visszaszerzem ezt a vért. Ez a kezdetleges harcrendszer, hogy nem lehet belokkolni a felséget. Annyira fos. És most I can access to the base. What the fuck? I can access to the basement. Na igen, az bent vannak. Ez nem a legalsó szint. De itt, ez az.
These skulls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after
Tök, hogy amúgy egy orvos vagyunk. Egyszerű harcrendszer. Egyszerű és bagos. De kezdek rájönni. Az az hajjal meg. Ugos. Ugos. Menjünk ide. Erre kell menni, igen, szerintem. Nem, főajtón kell majd tovább menni.
Mr. Connor's injuries.
You just acquired a new type of hand. Equip it and press X to directly absorb blood.
Don't match the
Miért nem
report.
tudom equipelni? Ez a bajom, hogy annyira szar ez így. Nem bírom equipelni. Csak ilyen van a details. Nincs equipelve. És itt van egy one hand, de nem tudom change-elni erre. Meg a two hands-et se tudom. Az offense-et se tudom, semmi. A revolverre nem
I'd
tudom
better look
váltani.
into this.
Az így csak egy shortcut. Erre kötsz vannak. Aha, boss fight. Rájöttem a... Megisszuk a véredet. És föléleljük magunkat. Boss fight win.
These skulls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting.
És remélem nem scripted, az játszik még több ilyen fostos, bugos vampírt. Ugye most nem követsz. És akkor már nem tudok visszamenni? Látszik, muszáj volt téged megölni. Most már ki tudok menni, ez nagyon jó. Játék nem engedi stealthbe megcsináljam. Upstairs-re kellett volna menni? Jaj, ne izélj már, hogy upstairs-re kellett volna menni. Nem pedig ki. Az játék nem valami nagy cucc. Még egy 5 perc game, aztán szopsz. De nem kell a upstairs-ra menni. Jó, már most már kezdtem feladni. Craftoltunk egy ilyet. Azt nem tudom mire volt jó, de biztos. Ha egyáltalán tudnám, hogyan kell használni a revolvert, akkor nagyon jó lenne. Mit craftolja? Crafts treatment of village. Reach the pharmacy. Ezt akarja? Craft the treatment of fatigue. De ez kell 2 szódavíz. Ó, bakker, én ezt craftoltam belőle. Ezt gondolom nem szódavízé alakítottuk. Nem. Akkor egy gonna trade. Talán itt lesz szódavíz. Jó, ne legyen, majd jövök, Ciops. Egy meccs.